Property Mama, where each week I share my adventures in real estate and pull back the curtain, lift the lid on all the comings and goings on in the world of real estate. I'm so glad you could join me today for episode 10 of Property Mama. If we've not met before, my name is Wendy Chamberlain, and I am a buyer's agent, buyer's advocate, and seller's advocate here in Melbourne, Australia. So I've shared on a few previous episodes about dealings with lots of different types of folks, be they sellers, buyers, real estate agents. And today I wanted to share about dealings that I have had and others have had that might be from otherworldly dealings, shall we say. So there's been some interesting things happen once I've entered a home. And it's not unusual, as I found out when I was talking to a real estate agent that I know very, very well. And he was sharing about his experiences that he had with one of his properties where he used to live in. And what happened was he went out on a Saturday night for go out for dinner, as you do, and came home at around about midnight. And when he came up to his house, this is the house that he lived in, the front door was wide open, all the lights were on, all the windows in the home were open. And he thought, oh, what's going on here? There was nobody in the house, which makes it very, very interesting, doesn't it? And so went inside the house and had a look around, and the back door was open as well. And there was nobody in the house. Nothing had been disturbed in the house. It was the kind of thing that looked like when someone would go in and rob a home, that's what they would do. But nothing had been touched. But all doors and windows in the home, front door and the back door were wide open. Now, he said that this was in the middle of winter, and so it had been raining. So it was wet outside. So you would assume that when you entered the home that there would be wet footprints in the house. There was nothing at all. And he said, oh, okay, something a little bit odd. So he didn't think anything further of it. And then he said about 6 months later, it happened again, and came home, and all of the doors and windows, everything in the house, all the lights were turned on in the house. And he said he was speaking to a friend of his, and they said, oh, you've got a friendly ghost. A friendly ghost. They're welcoming you to your home, as opposed to one that's not as friendly, I suppose. So, yeah, apparently there's friendly ghosts and other ghosts that are not as friendly. I've had similar personal experiences as well going into properties, and something's there. It's hard to describe it. I remember there was one home, and there's been quite a few homes that this has happened, that there's been something there in the property. I remember there was a home that I was doing copywriting and going along to this particular property in the north of Melbourne. And it was this really old, dilapidated Californian bungalow. And I remember it because the architecture of the Californian bungalow, many of them, they have these beautiful wide arching porches on the front of them, often with two pillars, which hold up the front veranda, and then these two pillars. And as I said, it had been let to go into disrepair, this house, and the front of the house, which is normally flat, obviously the foundation is normally straight, had sagged. So the house actually looked like it was frowning, or like the house looked like it was really, really sad. So this was a particular house that was being sold by the owners of the church. Now, there was a church behind it, and so this would have likely been the manse of the church. So as I said, it was in really poor repair, and really I would have said it's not livable. However, apparently the church was renting it out for $20 a week. I don't know how they were doing that because it wasn't livable. It was, when you say reno delight, this house absolutely needed a renovation. So, anyway, so I've gone into this home and it's basically the original home with the main principal room. So you walk down the center corridor and like it was dirty, filthy insofar as just dirt and dust, like a house that's been left and hasn't been occupied. It was just covered in dust and old, and I don't know how they had somebody living there, but they did. A homeless person or something, I think it was. But so you walk in, and then you had the lounge room on your left, a bedroom on your right. Keep walking down the hallway. There was another bedroom, and then there was the old kitchen on the left. And then they attacked a lean-to on the back of this property at some point over the years. This property has had its life. Now, which was a different part of the house, at the back of the house. So I'd stopped at the, if you like, the threshold where, as I said, there was bedroom on the right, kitchen on the left, and you could actually see the bottom of this right at the back where they had this extension. The floor had dropped, and you could see it was about at least a metre deep where the floor had dropped. You could see the yard. You threw the grass and the garden and the yard through the back of the house because obviously the foundations were where they were, and then the floor had just dropped. Anyway, I was walking over this threshold to look at the rest of the property. And when I stepped over the threshold, as I put my foot down, the world just spun. It just spun like it was a vortex. And I was like, it's like really trippy. So I stepped back out. And when I took my foot back and stepped back onto the main part of the house, it stopped. So there was obviously something in that house, in the center of that house. I mean, that's the one and only time I've had that happen in a property. So that was interesting. There was another time, another house. This was in the west of Melbourne. So it really doesn't matter where the houses are. Some have got things going on, and you can actually feel the energy of a house. So regardless of whether a house is beautifully presented or has been let go or is older but still kept in good repair, you can feel the energy of a property, of a house. And actually, I remember walking into a home that was in the north of Melbourne, and it was older, it was dated, it was from the 1960s, and the person had been, I'm not sure if they'd been moved into care or they'd passed away and the house was getting sold. But regardless of the house being dated and being an older home, you could still feel the love of that house. You could feel that this was a beautiful home, that the people that had lived in the home had children, brought up their family, and it was a happy home. You could actually feel that in the home. Let me tell you about this other property that I saw. As I said, it was in the inner west of Melbourne, and the property was owned by the son, and the son lived in Adelaide. And the sometime earlier, the father had passed away, and then the son had come back to sort out the sale of the house because the mother had recently passed away as well. So the house was all locked up. It had shutters on, those roller shutters that you have over the windows. So there was no light into any of the bedrooms. And it was a typical 1960s home, how they used to be built back then here in Melbourne. So you walk in, you have all the bedrooms on the left side. You'd take a step into the hallway. You'd have the lounge, which would lead round to the dining, the kitchen, the back door that way, and then you'd have the bathroom back past the bedrooms. So I walked in the front door. Actually, no, when I got there, and it was on a corner block. So it was on a corner block. So when I got there, the agent was in the back of the yard. So I walked around and went into the back of the property. And walked into the yard, all fine, and then came in through the back of the house and went in through the kitchen, into the dining and the living. And when I walked into the lounge room, and you got the bedrooms, and I said all the bedrooms were dark because the curtains were shut and there were blinds over the top of the curtains of the windows on the outside. So I don't know, it was the strangest feeling because, again, I was doing copywriting at the time, so I needed to look into each room to see what was in there so I could write accurately about what was in each particular room in the properties. And so I remember having this feeling of trepidation as I turned the light on in the room. It was like I expected something to be in there or someone to be in there. So at the time, there was myself, there was a real estate agent, and I think the photographer was there at the same time as well. So, and the owner was there as well. But I think they were outside. Anyway, I'm in the lounge / hallway, and I've walked over to the first bedroom, and I kid you not, I turn on the light, and it was like this. I expected someone or something to be in there. Turn on the light, there was nothing in there. I was like, oh, phew, okay. Walk to the next bedroom, same feeling. Turn on the light, and I expected there to be something in there, and there wasn't. I'm like, okay, all right, we're going all right now. Let's go to the third bedroom. You can do this. Walk up to the third bedroom. Again, pitch black in there. Flick the light on, and yes, I thought there was going to be something in there. Didn't see anything in there. All fine. Okay, so I've moved back into the other part of the house, and I was talking to the real estate agent, and I had at this point, I was facing into the lounge. So the hallway was on my left where these bedrooms were, and the front door was behind me. So I was sort of facing into the lounge, but a sort of half angled, so my shoulder was towards the bedrooms, if that makes sense. And something went running past down the hallway over my shoulder. I don't know what, it's like an entity. I don't know what it was. It went running past. And I went, wow, okay. But all right, okay, fine. Weird, just weird. Yeah, so there are things that happen in houses. There are presences that are still there in properties. There was one house, another house, there's lots of houses, and this was in the inner north of Melbourne. And again, it doesn't really matter where the houses are. They can often have friends living in them. And this particular day, it was a hot day. It was over 30 degrees, and the house was up, and it was like one of those single level terrace houses, and a narrow terrace house. And this was on the end of the row of terraces. So I walked down the street, and it's the one on the end. And the front door is open, the back door is open. The agent is inside. And again, I think the copywriter, it was me, the photographer and the floor planners were there. And you walk in, and you've got the long hallway. And it was a hot day. It was over 35 degrees this day, Celsius, which is hot. And it's because I had the whole house opened up. It was an old house that was getting sold, and there was no air conditioning on, no heating and cooling obviously not on, but certainly no air conditioning on. So you walk down the hallway, the front bedroom was really, really hot. and next bedroom was really, really hot. And then you went through the area which was like the living space before you went further through to the back of the house, which had the kitchen and things. And this room was absolutely freezing. It was like it was a freezer. And you walk through that room and through the next part of the house, and it was hot again. So, and I said to the agent, I said, is that room, can you feel that room is really, really cold? And he's like, oh, yeah, not sure what's going on there. I can tell you what was going on there. There was something in there. It was freezing cold in this particular, this room in this house. Yeah. And there was another house. This was in the northwest of Melbourne, so they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And it was a 2-story house, and the agent met me there and let me in. So, and then they left. Now the photographer was coming, but he hadn't arrived yet. So it was just me in this house, and I've walked, and it says it was a 2-story house. I've walked into this house and I've gone, something's gone on in this house. There's something not quite right in this house. The house was vacant. There was nobody in the house, but there was something weird that felt strange about this house. Anyway, so I'm walking around taking note of the features and everything of the property, thinking, oh, this is really weird. Okay, so, well, and I didn't start to. I immediately had this really uneasy feeling about being in this house. And anyway, so pottering around downstairs, like I'm by myself in this house, remember? Go upstairs, and the upstairs had been an extension at some point, and it was fully open plan up there. So it was like a main bedroom retreat that they had created. So it was like a really big space, but they had used it as a bedroom. And so you go up the stairs, and then you've got this huge wide open space. And then in behind the, once you get up onto that level, in behind the wall where you would obviously put your bed on, was an ensuite. So I go in there and thinking, yeah, something's going on in this house. And then, yeah, keep in mind I was there by myself. There was like a Harry Potter cupboard to the roof space, to the roof cavity. And I've seen this little door. That little door was, like a metre high, just like you would have, you'd have a door under stairs, so you would have some storage in there. And so I've spotted this door in the corner of the property, which I wasn't sure whether it was going to be storage in there or what it might be there. So I walk over, I'm thinking, oh, and I'm getting this like feeling as I'm walking over to this door, and I reach out and I open the door, and it's like I went, open the door, like honestly, it felt like there was going to be something in there, and I opened the door, and it was like it was the roof cavity underneath. I'm thinking, oh, something's gone on in that house. There was something in that house. So I slammed the door shut. I'm like, right, I've said enough. I'm out of here. Go down the stairs. As I said, the agent had left. It was just me, and go down the stairs. Like, no, I've had enough of this house, because there's something going on in that house. There was something in that house, which wasn't one of the friendly ones. Did not feel very friendly. So as I'm going, the photographer's rolled up. And I go, and I didn't know this photographer because I'd seen them at a few properties. I said, there's something in that property. There's something going on with that property. I'm going to leave you to it. And he's like, what? I said, no, there's something going on in that property. He went, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So different take on adventures in real estate. Probably something a little bit. So there certainly are, as I say, energies, entities, things that happen in properties. I remember another one. There was another one that we went and had a look at, and it was a really old terrace. Oh, it gives me shivers. Really old terrace, and so it had stairs going up to the upper levels, and then it had this turret on the top. So it was a late 1800s build, I think this property was. And I remember this. So there was this door to what would be understair storage, like a full height door with these holes drilled into it, like air holes. And that there was something in there. There was something in that house. Yeah, we were looking at that property. I thought, no, we're not going to live here. I do not want to live. I don't want to share my accommodation with somebody else like that. So, yeah, interesting. So, have you seen anything? Have you had any experiences or any feelings when you've gone into a property and you know that there's something that's just not quite right? Or possibly that you're not the only one in there when you're the only living human walking around in the property. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you've had any experiences like that, because I do think it's quite common, because a number of people that I've spoken to share those type of experiences where they have felt a presence or an entity or seen things. Like I said, I saw that thing flash past me, whatever that was. Who knows what it was? It was dark. I know it was like a dark blob that went like that. Yes, interesting times. Things that you find in properties. So, if you need a hand to buy a property, we are buyers agents, buyers advocates here in Victoria, also in Tasmania, in Australia. So, if you're looking for someone to support you bidding at auction, we can do that for you. You may not be confident to do that. You may get nervous. You may feel that you'll get emotional and that the auctioneer will push you over your budget, because that is what they're trained to do. They are trained to part you and your money from each other, because they're working for the vendor, not for you. And that reminds me, it's one of the things I wanted to share with you and reiterate for you, is that who have you got working in your corner? Who is supporting you? Because the vendor, the person selling the property, has the real estate agent working on their behalf. Who's working for you as the purchaser, the person trying to buy the property? Because that is where a buyer's agent, a buyer's advocate comes in, because we work for you. So I need to keep reminding people, it doesn't matter how lovely the real estate agent is, how polite they are, how funny they are, lovely to talk to, because we're dealing with nice people. We're dealing with great people in the industry, but that's their job. Their job is to get you to be confident and calm, so that they can have that conversation with you and work out whether you're going to be the one that's going to buy the property, and how much money can they get out of you for their vendor to achieve that result. So if you feel that you're going to be get nervous at an auction, go over your budget, this is where we can step in and we can support you. And I see it all the time. When I go to auctions, I can see when people have hit their limit, because it's written all over their face. They might not think that it is. They might think they're doing the best poker face, but I can tell you, your demeanor changes. Your body language changes when you've gone over your budget. It does. And just like people who play poker have a poker face and a tell, people attending auctions have a tell. And if you're an industry professional like myself, you can see the tells. You can spot them. which is great fun when you're working with a client and you're bidding and you can see who your other buyers are, and you know when they're over their budget, because you know then that they don't have a lot left in their tank. So if you need that support, perhaps you're unavailable on auction day, you might have to go interstate, overseas, you may have a wedding you've got to get to and they're not going to let you not show up, well then that is an area where we can provide that support to you. We also offer negotiating to buy a property. So that could be, again, you might not be confident to do negotiation. You might not work in the space of real estate, and your everyday experience may not be one of feeling you're confident to negotiate. We can step in and do that. So if you've found a property that you'd love us to support you with, we're here to help you with that. And of course, we offer our full service, which is a full end-to-end service where we do tap into that hidden market of real estate known as off-market, secret listings, pocket listings. I found out about at least 2 this week that are not yet advertised to the public. We've got one real estate agent who has just been waiting to get access because it is tenanted. So they're going to give us the first right to go through and have a look at that property before they show it to any other buyer in the market. Now, if you're out there hunting for a property, how does that sound to you? If you knew that you could get the very first look at a new property hitting the market that is going to be likely suitable for you, it's going to be within your budget, it's in the suburb that you want, it's in the area that you want, it's got the facilities, everything you want in a home, and you get the first opportunity to have a look at it before anyone else. That's what an off-market opportunity looks like. And that is what we bring every day to our clients, because it's through our relationships that we have formed and nurtured over many, many years in the real estate industry. So if that sounds appealing to you, well, reach out to us, chamberlainadvocates.com.au. You can drop us a line here on our socials, just send us a DM or send an email, or go to the website and pop your information in the inquire form, or of course give us a call on the old style phone. We're here to help you. And we have several advocates on the team, so we cover all areas of Melbourne, and also we can help you in Tasmania if that's where you're looking to buy. So thank you again for joining me on today's Adventures in Real Estate with Property Mama. As I said earlier, if you have yourself had experiences where you've felt there was someone else there in a property with you at the same time and it wasn't your friend's family or partner, love to hear from you, love to hear what that experience was like for you. Also, if you'd love me to cover any future topics in relation to real estate, I'd love to do that as well. And if you've got any questions that you would really like answered, well, then I'm here to help, here to support you. And hope you're enjoying our adventures in real estate. I'll be back next week with another Adventures in Real Estate for Property Mama, and look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye for now.